Hello, welcome. You're listening to Eur.future podcast. The show is hosted by students currently working on the Erasmus Euroculture Master Program. I'm Beijing. Today, I'm glad to be here with Jody.
Hi, I'm Jody Fontov, and our guest today is Daniel Lee. So, Daniel, maybe you could introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Daniel. I'm from Taiwan, and I spent my first semester of Euroculture in Uppsala University in Sweden and second semester in University of Deusto in Spain.
Welcome for joining us, Daniel. As we know that you have passed the special examination for diplomatic and consular personnel, which is a examination before you actually enter into the Taiwanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. First part, we're going to discuss about your current job. As a candidate passing the exam for diplomatic personnel, so you are already qualified to be a diplomat, or we should call you're a diplomat to be. Can you briefly describe the association and the position?
Okay, thank you for the question. You can say I'm a diplomat to be because we are still receiving trainings in the College of Diplomats. So after you pass the national exam, you have to pass the training as well. So right now I'm studying in a college, a lot of courses, and trying to be a qualified diplomat. If fortunately I pass the training, I will be working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Taiwan.
So, as you say, you're now undergoing the training in the College of Diplomat. Can you briefly describe your current daily tasks and your current project you're enrolling in?
Okay, so it's quite challenging, I would say. Every day we have a lot of courses and we have a lot of exams as well. But also we have interesting stuff to do. For example, we have golf class and also dancing class and any kind of courses which would make us to be a better diplomat, I would say, like trying to know the world better on European affairs, American affairs, etc. So we are learning a lot of knowledge and also we are learning social skills, trying to be qualified.
Can I just ask, is the golf class and the dance class, are these mandatory or why do you have them? Just for extras or?
Yeah, they are mandatory. So we have to know how to play golf because in the future, it's quite possible that we play golf with other diplomats from other countries. So,
Oh wow, that's really interesting.
It sounds very interesting, and as we know, there are many etiquettes of diplomatic personnel. It sounds like pretty natural that they have like golf classes and also other courses like language courses, other things in that training to be official diplomat. So after the completion of the job training at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you are supposed to be working in Ministry of Foreign Affairs or to be transferred or aligned to other diplomatic mission overseas. And I would like to ask, what's your favorite thing about this job?
well, I would say I haven't experienced the best part of this job, I would say, because right now we are receiving a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. So right now I would not say I'm quite enjoy it. But I think this job is quite meaningful because on the one hand, you can help your country to have a better participation in the world. And on the other hand, you can also broaden your horizon, right? So you may have the chance to living abroad and working as well. So I think it's very interesting. After the completion of the College of Diplomats, I will be working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for 3 years. And after 3 years, I will be sent to a country, hopefully a nice country, for 6 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it is. And so for this situation, I would like to bring your memory back to your Euroculture program. And because you also mentioned language course, which language did you use or are you taught in your training classes?
So basically, we will speak Mandarin. In the majority of the time, we will be speaking Mandarin and also learning ancient Mandarin, which is so difficult. I've never thought Mandarin could be so difficult. And because inside the government, we use ancient, old Mandarin to communicate. So right now, it's one of my challenge. And on the other hand, we are learning English as well, even though I'm from the group of Spanish. So if you want to pass the national exam, you should choose one of the languages as your, how do you say, ability or capacity. I chose Spanish, so I passed the exam with my Spanish, not with my English. But even though I'm from the group of Spanish, we also have courses of English and also courses of Spanish for interpretation and translation.
And since you mentioned you study in Spain when you were doing your Euroculture program, so is that the reason that you choose Spanish to you choose to improve your Spanish in such a course?
You mean why did I choose University of Deusto?
Yep, you can share a bit about that.
I actually went as an exchange student to Spain during my college. I'm a fan of this country. And I really wanted to go back to Spain for studying a master or living or working. So I applied for Euroculture and I wanted to go back to University of Deusto, even though it's in Bilbao. It's not in my favorite city, Madrid. But also I did apply for the opportunity. And on the other hand, I have never known Scandinavia. So I also picked Uppsala. Fortunately, I got both. That's why during my stay in Deusto in Bilbao, I think I improved my Spanish, even though the courses are all in English, but I think I still practice quite a lot with local people and also with other Spanish students. Yeah.
Because for most of the time, we think that a diplomat should be a productive communicator who has also need to be mastery of the language in host countries. I'd say it's very valuable experience that you had in your master program. Next, we are going to discuss about how you get involved in your current job.
So the diplomatic training, you started that right after you graduated Euroculture, or did you do something in between that?
Okay, so it's quite interesting because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I was actually working in Madrid in a marketing company. At that moment, I didn't finish my master's thesis yet. I was just working in that company. And then the COVID-19 pandemic started to expand in Europe. So I was a very outdoor person, so I couldn't accept myself staying at home for a long time. So I just flew back to Taiwan. So after flying back to Taiwan, I tried to finish my master thesis, and I finished it in May. And since May, I started to prepare for the national exam. And the national exam was in September. And then in December was the oral exam. And in January, I entered the College of Diplomats.
Okay, thank you. And why did you choose diplomacy? What sparked your interest in the area?
I majored in diplomacy in Taiwan for my bachelor's degree. And in Euroculture, I feel like it's very related, even though it's called Euroculture, but I feel like we are actually studying European affairs. It's also related to diplomacy, and we even had a chance to visit European Commission and these institutions. And why I really chose these professions that I really wanted to apply what I have learned from university and master's degree, and also my language abilities, skills to the job. And also I was looking for something bigger, like more a sense of achievement and also more meaning for a profession, I would say.
Yes, I get that. That's a very great goal, to be honest, to have. When did you start applying for the College of Diplomacy?
In May, I finished the thesis, and I was like, should I look for a job in private sector or should I apply for the exam to enter the College of Diplomats? I did the second option. So I started to study a lot, like day and night, all the time, 24 hours. No, not that much, but a lot of time studying. And in September, I passed the exam. And then in December, another exam. And then I was informed that I can enter the college. So it was like a long process to enter this college. And I decided in May, right after I finished my thesis.
Okay, and could you tell us a bit more about the exam? What did you need to study? What did you need to know?
Oh, wow. It's a nightmare, I think. You have to study 12 subjects, which includes international relations, international communication, international economy, history, comparative politics, foreign languages, the constitution of our country, a lot of subjects. And then the second phase is the oral. The oral, you have to do one interview in Mandarin and one interview in the language you pick. In my case, it was Spanish. So it's a long marathon exam, I would say.
It sounds intense. So if you want to go into diplomacy, you really need to want it, basically.
Yeah, and I was actually quite lucky, I would say, because normally people spend 2 years to get a place in the college. But I think in the group of Spanish is less competitive, I think. So I think I was quite lucky to get in.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think Beijing has some more questions on how Euroculture in particularly shaped the situation you are in right now.
Yeah, that was quite interesting to hear about your preparation for the exam. And actually, we are also curious about how did the Euroculture program help you to prepare for your current position, current job? Did your dream for the future change before or after your participation in Euroculture?
You mean the profession I choose after studying your culture, does it change or not, right? It's not because of your culture. I'm sorry to say that. It's because of the pandemic. Because I was actually really wanted to stay in Europe because I really like Spanish lifestyle. It's a lot of fun. People are nice. Food is good, and life is just so good there. And in Taiwan, a lot of pressure, a lot of extra hours working like an ant. So I was actually staying in Spain until outbreak of COVID-19. So I flew back and started all these new journeys. I would say your culture didn't change my plan. Pandemic did.
Yeah, that's something we cannot expect before actually choose a career path. And it usually happens. I can see it's quite natural. So as we know that you did an internship in Madrid in your third semester, could you share a bit about your experience and tell us about how did the experience help you?
The experience in Madrid was amazing. Madrid is such a nice city to live, so cosmopolitan and so open-minded. So I really enjoyed my time, my stay in Madrid. In that company, it was a marketing company. So as an international relations major, I had no idea about digital marketing. So I really learned a lot of techniques or knowledge of this area, and I really appreciate it. And also, I think it kind of helped me in the future where maybe I will be responsible for international communication of our diplomacy, right? Like making videos or making keywords search on Google for Taiwan can help or something like that. So yeah, I think it really helped me. And also I made a lot of friends in Madrid and polished my Spanish. In general, I think the internship experience is very positive, and I strongly recommend our Euroculture fellows to do internship instead of doing research.
Yeah, I can tell because it's quite different when you are doing a job in private sector from your current job because you're going to be a civil servant, which is in the government. Do you think it was your involvement in the Euroculture program that helped you to get the position you have now?
Yes, definitely. I think so. I mean, Taiwanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs quite appreciate people who lived abroad, whether for studying or working. And also, I think your culture is definitely a great preparation for people who want to become a diplomat because it offers a wide variety of courses related to international European affairs, and it also provides opportunities to improve one's adaptability and international intercultural communication skills. I think they are all very important to become a diplomat, especially adaptability, I would say, because your culture you have to move to another country just after one semester, and I think it's really challenging. But as a diplomat, I think you also need to do that.
And in all of your culture program and the courses you have taken, which of the classes and events of your culture program had the greatest impact on your future career?
Okay, so a lot of them were very helpful. And I especially remember a course I took at Uppsala University. It was an American international law lawyer who specialized in human rights, and she was very knowledgeable and professional. It was very impressive. And at University of Deusto, I had Latin American Studies and Indian Study, which were very informative and entertaining as well. So I really appreciate those courses. But I think I appreciate more events like IP in Czech Republic, which really, I think, kind of expand our networks to other students of Euroculture. And also, I remember Uppsala University organized a visit to European Commission office in Stockholm, and it was very interesting as well. And besides that, we also talked to Swedish Minister of Education, and I think it was very unforgettable. I think it's really related to my future daily working life because, as you know, Taiwan is having difficulty participating in international organizations due to China's objection. I would have to try my very best to convince as many international friends as possible to support Taiwan's international participation. So I really appreciate your cultural experience.
And you mentioned a very important idea and a very major task for students like us who are in our second semester of the program, because all of us have to do is the IB paper. As we know, due to the pandemic, the intensive program is not held face-to-face, which has been held online, unfortunately.
Where was it going to be this year?
It should be in
Uppsala.
Uppsala! Oh, such a pity. They have very good Thai food. Really. Oh my god, such a pity, huh?
So, can you share a little bit more about the IP paper?
It was, oh my god. Okay, so because I don't remember it was a nightmare, it was really fun because IP program is really fun. You meet a lot of friends and new people and people you heard about for one semester and you finally met them. So it was really fun. But I think writing IP paper was quite torturing.
But oh well. Beijing, did you have more questions for this part, or?
Yes, I have the final question, which is about your thesis. And as we talked about the IP paper, can you tell us more about thesis topic in your fourth semester? And also, how does it relate to your current job?
Okay. So I wrote about Madrid's gay district and its development. The gay district is called Trega. I interview a lot of business owners and activists to know the history of this area and the development if it's gonna disappear as many gay area or gay district which disappear around the world, like in South Africa or etc. Because the society is getting more and more open and the necessity of gay people to go out in a gay area is not that strong or not that much anymore. So I was investigating about these things, and I think it's not very relevant to diplomacy, but as gender studies is getting, or gender equality is getting more and more important in international politics, I think what I learned from writing this thesis, like concepts like feminism, women empowerment, and LGBTQI plus community will help me in my future career when interacting with other foreign representatives for sure.
That's very interesting. So we're going to wrap up our podcast today, but before that, we still have two questions for you.
Yes, the first one in general is if you have, like, what is your hope for the future, which normally would translate to something, do you want to stay in the area you're currently involved in? But since diplomacy is still, like, you're still training to become it, I don't know if you want to interpret it that way, but you can say, what is your hope for the future?
Okay, so I would like to be a decent Taiwanese diplomat and fight for Taiwan's survival because it's very difficult for Taiwanese nowadays and even since 1971. And I'm hoping that Taiwan can maintain its sovereignty and the values that Taiwan believes in, such as democracy, freedom, rule of law, human rights, and so forth. I hope that Taiwan will never be part of China.
Okay, thank you. That was a very clear answer, I think. And do you have anything to say to current or prospective Euroculture students about, like, in general or regarding diplomacy? Any tips?
Okay, so I would say pursue your dream and be yourself, enjoy life because life is too short to live someone else's dream. I think I would say I strongly encourage Euroculture students to become diplomat and support Taiwan.
Or diplomats of another country, also possible, of course. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. Honestly, it was very great. And thank you for anyone who has listened to this podcast. We hope you listen to our next one as well. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you for
Goodbye.
having me.